It's time to kill an old meme. There are so many stories I've seen which are labeled as depressing, understandably so from all the traumatized characters and the messed up stuff they go through. However, when I see people label something like A Silent Voice, Evangelion, or Higurashi as overall depressing, I can't help but feel like you kinda missed the point. And I felt this most recently after reading the extremely uplifting manga Chainsaw Man. There's a lot of stuff in Chainsaw Man, and it sets out to say a lot of things, but as someone who has been super unconfident in my ability to make my own decisions for most of my life and always relied on other people to make decisions for me, I connected most with the theme around taking control over your life and the analogy to the country and town mice. The story of the town mouse and country mouse is obviously an important part of Chainsaw Man's theme around control, as it's brought up like a few times, I guess. There are people who want less of a challenge and more comfort in their life like the country mouse, and there are people who want to take risks in order to get exactly what they want like the town mouse. I wonder which philosophy Chainsaw Man subscribes to. Right from chapter 1, Chainsaw Man basically gives its overall opinion on the country/town mouse analogy before the analogy had even been brought up. Denji is definitely a town mouse kind of guy. He starts off the manga as someone who desires control over his life, and while the Yakuza boss he's enslaved to does say that Denji always does what he's told, Denji is clearly just doing what he can so that he can gain control over his life. Even with his massive and seemingly impossible to pay off debt to the Yakuza, he has sold multiple organs and goes out to fight devils every day. He wants to achieve his dream of freedom and a better life, and he's going to work every day towards getting that dream. While fighting the zombie devil and the Yakuza zombies, Denji almost gives in to the country mouse mentality. For a second, he thinks that these Yakuza people already had a happy life, and yet they wanted more, resulting in them turning into zombies, and that maybe he's the same. Maybe he should have stayed content with his simple, miserable life with Pochita, but then, he realizes that dreaming isn't a bad thing, and he decides that once he's finally free of the Yakuza, he will continue with his drive to achieve every goal he sets for himself. Whether it's touching boobs, getting a kiss, or less important things, he will always try to find a way to get what he wants, usually through slaughtering those demons with the power of the chainsaw! However, at the start, Denji is not a perfect town mouse. He has a habit of losing confidence in himself, and he tends to fall into situations that involve him not really being able to have complete control over his life. And so even someone as straightforwardly independent as Denji is able to fall in love with the idea of trading away control over your life for comfort, which is represented by Makima, the control devil. The type of control Makima desires is not individuals' control over their own lives, but her control over them. Her desire is for everyone to give themselves up as dogs for her to use and achieve her own goals, and in exchange, they will be free from having to make their own decisions. Makima wants an army of country mice, people who aren't confident in their ability to make their own decisions and would rather have someone else give them orders. Denji, as the pure representation of base individuality, stays confident up until the point where he is forced to kill Aki. As a town mouse, Denji has been able to crawl up in the world from basically nothing. However, the sacrifice you make when you take responsibility for your own decisions is the possibility of failure, which is what the death of Aki ends up being for Denji. Combined with the feeling of losing one of his best friends, Denji's failure to protect that friend crushes him, and so he gives himself up as a dog to Makima, because if someone else makes the decisions for him, he won't have to care about any consequences being the fault of his own. Denji then quickly realizes the problem that comes with giving up control of your life. Makima instantly murders Power and then sends Denji on a quest to murder all the other devils to achieve the world she wants to see. And while Denji is very against what Makima is doing, especially the murder of Power, he isn't able to do anything because he is a dog and dogs aren't supposed to question what their masters tell them to do. Dogs kill when told to kill without thinking about it. So with this, Chainsaw Man is saying that if you let someone else make your decisions for you, if you decide to become a country mouse, you will just be a tool of whoever you belong to. And in Denji's case specifically, the idea that becoming a country mouse would lead to comfort turns out to be a complete lie. Even though he gives up on risk, just like a country mouse, he isn't able to achieve comfort because of all the messed up stuff Makima wants to do. Much earlier in the manga, Makima had talked about why she likes the country mouse. But it isn't because she likes the idea of a risk-free, comfortable life. It's because she enjoys digging them out from underground. And just like how she won't let the real country mice live in peace, she will also disrupt the desired comfort of anyone who submits to her simply because of her own goals. However, in Chainsaw Man, it isn't as simple as just be a town mouse. Part of its main message is definitely that you have to accept risk and danger if you want to get what you want. But its full message is something a bit more nuanced. The two characters who explicitly say that the town mouse is better are Denji and Aki. And if Aki is a town mouse, aka correct, why did he fall under Makima's control? Well, Aki was always driven by revenge. He put up with being a public sector devil hunter, the most dangerous job in the universe, so that he could kill the gun devil. All town mice know they have to put up with danger to get what they want. However, Aki is too accepting of his environment. It puts him at the command of Makima, who turns out to not have super great intentions for him. In the end, being a town mouse in these circumstances leads to Aki being Makima's slave and not actually being able to get what he wants. In Chapter 72, Aki decides to pull out of the expedition to kill the gun devil. He has realized that he doesn't really want to kill the gun devil more than protect Denji and Power. However, in the next chapter, Makima forces Denji and Power back into the mission, which makes Aki decide he needs to rejoin. Aki was thinking about the situation in too simple of a way, as if the only options were letting Denji and Power go alone or him going with them. He failed to realize there were options outside of what Makima presented to him. He was too accepting of the town mouse environment, and so he died. Denji has a similar problem for most of the manga, best represented in the food he eats, which is like everything. He eats everything. At the start of the manga, Denji is working towards freedom, but he's also happy with eating barely anything, representing how he's too comfortable in a situation that he shouldn't be accepting. Even if he did manage to pay off his debt, it's highly unlikely the Yakuza would have actually let him go, but he's just not smart enough to realize this. Later on as a devil hunter, Denji is happy with the bare minimum of 3 meals a day, and he's also happy working in a system built to eventually make him Makima's dog because he thinks working in this system will get him towards killing the gun devil and getting that one wish Makima promised him. However, in Chapter 73, we find out that the state of the gun devil has been a lie. The expedition to kill the gun devil probably isn't actually an expedition to kill the gun devil. Its true purpose is to just take that gun devil for Japan. This new information leaves the gang very confused, especially Denji. After all, Makima had promised Denji that once he killed the gun devil, she would grant him one wish. But it turns out that the gun devil is never going to be killed, and so Denji will never get what he wants. Denji goes along with Makima's plans, which leads to him killing Aki. And then it turns out that he actually will be getting a wish from Makima. However, this entire situation had been planned out by Makima. Everything was meant to lead up to this moment, where the only thing Denji could ask for would be to become Makima's dog. So it turns out that being a town mouse while being too accepting of the danger of the city is basically the same thing as surrendering control of your life away, which is exactly what Makima wants from the country mice, and exactly what happens to both Aki and Denji. Aki gets mind-controlled by Makima and gets turned into the gun fiend, forcing him to get killed by Denji, who then asks to become Makima's dog, and then turns into Mega Chainsaw Man until he gets a hamburger with Kobeni. Through these experiences, Denji realizes the problem of being too accepting of your environment and realizes what he has to do. Denji's main goal since the start of the manga was always to have a normal, comfortable life, which could be seen as similar to someone who wants to be a country mouse. However, as Denji finds out, it's not possible to live a comfortable life if you give up risk. And so what Chainsaw Man's final message about this whole mouse habitat thing is that it's not actually possible to be comfortable as a country mouse. If you want comfort in your life, you need to keep setting goals for yourself, working towards those goals, and once you achieve those goals, set new ones. Once you're free from the Yakuza, the next goal is touching boobs, and then the next is getting a kiss. You can't just surrender yourself to someone else's control, you need to slice her open with a chainsaw. In Chapter 92, Denji sits down with Kobeni and reflects on how bad things have gone. He delivers the poetic line, "My heart feels like it's at the bottom of a toilet clogged with crap." He also reflects on how he has been trying to achieve goals in his life, but never tried drastically changing his environment, saying that he has always been following other people's orders. However, Kobeni surprises Denji by saying, "Isn't that just normal though?" Throughout the manga, Kobeni definitely seems like the most country mouse-pilled person. She's constantly scared, and always scared, but she's somehow able to get through it all. And the reason for that is she knows that there's no such thing as a life free of bad things, except in your dreams. Every person's life, whether you're a country or town mouse, will have bad things. So why wouldn't you take the path that allows you to get what you want? The pain caused by bad things in the present is temporary as long as you set goals for the future and set out to achieve them, because the future is best. The future is best. The future is. But also, you won't be able to achieve all your goals by just going along with the system, even if it seems like working in this system is the only way to achieve your goals. Sometimes you need to fight against it. Sometimes as a town mouse, it's actually possible to get rid of the danger of the city. You don't have to accept all of the hardships to get the tasty food. Denji still says he wants to be normal, but then he turns on the TV and sees all the people in the streets cheering for Chainsaw Man. Even though he had failed a few times, even though he had been too accepting of his circumstances for most of his life, his massive accomplishments are what ultimately get focused on. And so he realizes that he doesn't just want the normal jam on toast breakfast. He wants steak for breakfast, and 10 girlfriends, and tons of sex. He wants to get more. He wants to be Chainsaw Man. And to achieve all those dreams, you need to kill Makima.